How's it going, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my Dragon Ball Z, or Dragon Ball in general, collection as it stands currently. Can't have a fancy background for it today because it's all down low, and I don't really feel like sitting on the floor any more than I have to show this off, so you're getting a Godzilla background for this one. But this has been a big work in progress for me. I'm not really super big into anime, but Dragon Ball has been one of those ones that I've been able to stick with over the years, and I've always really enjoyed. And I've just been hooked on the Bandai figures, and I've done a lot of customs myself, or mixing of lines, so you'll see a lot of the Figuarts, which is like the bread and butter of my collection. But I have branched out into the Figurize where it's appropriate, which are the model kits. I've also gone back and picked up some of the old Irwin figures, which are cheap and easy to get at like secondhand shops and flea markets and stuff for the most part. So those kind of populate things out as more background characters that are less articulated. And some are just some straight up customs I've done or mods of other things. Also some great third party releases from brands like Demoniacal and GPSLot have been added in here as well. So I'm going to re-record this from what I originally had because the first version I used a lockdown tripod to film everything. And I realized it was kind of hard to see the characters when you were seeing them way far in the background. So we're going to go handheld here. And this is my first display in my details for Dragon Ball. And this is just on a clear riser. Not a huge fan of this riser. It seems like things don't like to stay standing on it, and it really doesn't help with spacing as much as I thought it would, but I guess it kind of works for this. So up here we have the Comic-Con exclusive Goku in his blue gi on top of the Nimbus that came with the orange suit version of him. The Adventure Begins Bulma, the Tao Pai Pai, which is one of the more recent additions to my collection here. Wasn't completely happy with this figure, especially with the log writing gimmick, but I guess just standing on his own, he's fine. Then the massive King Piccolo with his accessories sitting next to him on the bottom. We also have the other version of Bulma there checking her dragon radar. Next row down, we have the Turtle School going on. So we got young Crillon, we got Roshi with a Dragon Ball there. And then we have young Goku. I think when Jackie Chun comes out, he may join this shelf, though the next level down, I may be moving to another cabinet. So we have, skipping ahead out of Dragon Ball, we have the Raditz arc of the show. So we have Goku. This thing is bootleg and cobbled together as all hell. This is a Yamcha, I think upper and lower body, if I remember right. And then I used one of the blank bodies from Figma to give him bare feet and then the lower arms without the cuffs on them. And then you can tell the head is just like really badly repainted by me. I think it was a custom I'd done a few times, so it's pretty bad looking, but it gets the point across for that version of Goku. And then we have the Figurized Piccolo that I modded and cut off his arm. So now we have him as he appeared in that arc with his effect that came with him. And this little, like, individual tiny figure box Gohan I thought was going to be a bit taller and be more in scale with these, but he's obviously way too short, but he's going to hang out here for now anyway. Next up is what I want to do more of in these displays is to have little mini dioramas. So this is what I'm currently working towards on a lot of these shelves. So starting up front, well, first you can see I've done some very poor cable management. I need to work on figuring a better way to do that because the wires get really bunched up here at the bottom of the detolfs, which is not a good thing. But we have my Scouter Vegeta with his actual Scouter, and then we have Nappa, then a bunch of Cybermen down there hanging out. Not as many as there should be, but I kind of wanted to buy that third-party pack that had a bunch of different ones with different expressions and stuff, so I may still do that. Then I have my Z Fighters, so I have the standard Tien, I think it's like a Banpresto Chiaotzu, just so I could have a standing version. Got another Figurized Piccolo. Got the standard release Yamcha back there. I have a Gohan. I think this was another Bandai minifigure, but he's scaled pretty well, and he's the right look for the Saiyan Saga. Then a Figurized Crillon, because the Bandai, or the Figuarts one, has him with the boots on, and every other look at the show besides Cell Saga, he does not have those boots, so you can mod this kit so that he has the flat shoes. So that's how I have him here. His gi's a little off in color. If you look at Yamcha back there, not quite the same, but I think he works okay for this. Then way in the back, I've got some columns of stone, And then a custom Goku. It's a bootleg lower body of a Goku and a upper body of Tien. And I think Goku's arms are swapped back on there. Got a little Kaioken effect going on in the background. And some Kendo Beams effect on his wrist to be like the Kamehamehas going off. You can see he has to be on a stand right now because he's so flimsy. Once the Ultra Instinct Goku comes out, I'm probably going to do some swapping around and hopefully have a more cohesive figure. And then up here we have Vegeta, same idea, Gallic Gun effect behind him and Can of Beams effect on his wrists. And yeah, I like having these two ready to square off. But with the new Great Ape coming out, these might be getting their own shelf. So I may be moving the Raditz display kind of in the background of this setup here, and then moving these two to either the background or foreground with the Great Ape for another display. Next up is my Namek Saga display. So this one's kind of just a Namekian base with some little trees going on in the back. I have the Demoniacal Fit Ginyu here, which is pretty decent, though I am probably going to replace him with the official release. And then there in the back we have the Frieza Soldier that's built off of that same Ginyu body. I actually just ordered the other Frieza Soldier, that's the Jace body from Demoniacal Fit, so he'll join here eventually. Then I have the Saiyan Raised on Earth Goku hanging out there. And then the Figuarts, I think I keep saying Figuarts, but it's Figuarts Frieza here in his pod. Now I have seen some people upgrade this with the Dragon Stars one, where he will, where you have an articulated Frieza in the pod instead of the static one, but this works for what I want it for. I did drill a hole in the bottom of his thing so that he will sit on a Tamashii stage and be flying above everything else. So I'd like to just eventually spread this out and have the rest of the Ginyu Force in here, maybe some other Frieza soldiers, but this is kind of just an in-between piece just to fit some of these pieces that don't go quite with the Frieza Saga, but will work on their own and are cool to display. Next up is the Frieza Saga itself, and this one, we got the Awakening Goku with his aura effect back there. We got the first release Frieza with his rock. I tried to make this river thing, which is just resin in between the foam board. I tried to make a spot for the rock in there, but it was really hard without messing up this rock itself. So it is kind of just sitting on top of the river, which I realize now is more or less okay. Back here, I've got a Figuarts Frieza that I chopped down so he could be like the full power, because he's a little bulkier than the Figuarts Frieza. So it's like my full power version of him back there with the Namekian tree as well. And then over here we've got some kind of crummy customs and placeholders. We got my custom Vegeta back there in his Saiyan armor for the Saga. We have a Erwin Dende, and then Gohan is on the Shoto Vegeta. So that was a smaller line of figures they put out, and I resculpted a head for him. I'm not happy with how that head came out, and I know what I could replace it with, but it's just kind of rare and expensive, so I'm trying to find a cheap copy of it. But right now, that's my substitute Gohan. And then Crillon is just on a bootleg Vegeta body. And I was going to take this and chop it down, but then I found out that the Shoto Nappa looks to be more or less in scale. I think it's a little short still, but I went ahead and ordered one of those, so I'm going to use that as a custom Krillin and replace this figure here. And now we're getting a bit of a break from the dioramas. I haven't quite finished these ones yet, or I haven't really started on some of them. But here we have the Android Saga display. So here in the back left, we have 16, 17, 18, all from Figuarts. We have a Figuarts Tien flying above here with the Demoniacal Fit Toga, an Erwin 19, and Dr. Gero or 20 back here. Then up front, I have a special color Trunks, another little Banpresto Gohan that scales okay with this. I think he's a little too big and chunky, but he works okay. Then a Banpresto Yamcha that I bought originally to make a custom using the head sculpt on it, but after Demoniacal Fit released their own head sculpt, I decided just to put him back here as my Yamcha for this scene. I stole his belts to make another custom, but I think I'm gonna repurpose that, so I should have his belt to be reattached eventually, and then I might sculpt in like the wound on his chest or something and make him like the damaged Yamcha from that saga. And then I've got a Goku. This is an extra Awakening head that I had from a custom that I made, and it's just on kind of the more standard Goku body for this. And then back there I have a little van that is from the Rampage figures that came out a few years back. And I want to eventually make the diorama for this kind of like a destroyed roadside on the side of a mountain. So I thought that would fit in well with the overall display. Next up is my Cell Saga display. And this is maybe one of the next ones I'll do a diorama for. But back here we have the Figuarts Mr. Satan with his freak out head. I was originally using an Irwin one in this place. And I was kind of like, oh, I don't need to upgrade. And then I saw that freak out face and I felt I really needed it. I have a badly done Tien custom, which I'm probably going to take another stab at once I don't need that upper torso for the Goku in the Kaioken attack version anymore. There's the Yamcha, like I mentioned. It's a standard body with a demonical fit head. If the original release Piccolo from Figuarts, honestly, I like the figurized ones better. But I decided I have this figure, so I might as well have him in the display. He's kind of leaning against the back wall because he does not like to stand very well with that cape. There's also the Figuarts Crillon there. And then we have the Saiyan armor Trunks and Saiyan armor Vegeta. We got Cell here with his Kamehameha ground effect. I need to, maybe when I put the diorama in, I'm going to try to angle it so we could actually have Kamehameha effects in here. And then we got Kid Gohan all beat up with his dad behind him, trying to recreate the ending of that saga. Then we also have the extra head from Android 16 there, just to kind of replicate that part of it all. And then another diorama that was somewhat unintentional. These capes that you could see on both the Great Saiyaman and Mr. Satan, these were from GPSLot on eBay, and they also had a papercraft diorama for this tournament field. So I did some mods to it, chopped it down, made it so it fit inside of a Detolf. So this is kind of my World Martial Arts Tournament display. So yeah, I got Mr. Satan there, looking very different than his Cell Saga counterpart, and the cape is really cool. Same with Great Saiyaman there, and then we've got a Crillon hanging out from Irwin as well. I do want to get a version of 18 to fit in here for sure, and honestly, I'd love to have like a Mighty Mask or whatever the heck Goten and Trunks were in the tournament. I think that'd be kind of fun to have as well. So back here I have my Buu Saga display. So up here I have Goku with a custom Super Saiyan 2 hair sculpt, and then my Majin Vegeta duking it out above the battlefield. Then another Irwin figure, one of the little creatures on Bobby's ship. I forget his name. He's missing some parts, but I figure I might as well throw him in there. Back here we've got Majin Buu with another GPSLot cape. Got an Irwin, I think it's an Irwin, old Buu, who's actually decently articulated, but now he's just a little small in this mix. We've got the Super Buu from Figuarts, and then the Figure Rise Kid Buu down there. Then back here we have Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Figuarts, the newer version. We've got Goten from Figuarts, and then I've loaded him up with Ghosts. I've had a couple different Gotens, so he's got the ones he came with, he has the ones from the Figure Rise kit, and he has some ones from an older Bandai figure mixed in there. Oh, we also have B back there. We've got Mystic Gohan and Vegeto. Then originally I had this as a full Super display, basically like the first three arcs of Super, or first three major arcs of Super, but I decided to pare it down to just the first two, or those two movies more or less. So, and you can see my curtains pulled back so you can see all the nasty electronics behind it. But so, like the Battle of Gods, Beerus arc, so Super Saiyan God Goku versus Beerus, and there's Whis back there, and then the Resurrection F here with Goku and Vegeta fighting Frieza. So this one definitely needs a display just to liven it up a lot, because it's pretty bland right now, but I think some of the other stuff kind of makes up for it. Because part of my problem is I have so much stuff from the Goku Black series that I just needed a space to move it all to. So back here we have the fused Zamasu in his with his cross behind him. We have the Goku Black with a can of beam scythe. Got the Figuarts Fusion Zamasu with the battle damage, and then two Dragon Stars. I think these might be the first Dragon Stars on display here. So we've got Zamasu, and then we've got Goku Black. Now Goku Black, I've replaced the head with the Figuarts head because I love that smirking face that he has, and I think the body's not terrible. So that's my little kit bash there that I think works all right. Then you got Trunks back there with his Spirit Sword. We have a Dragon Stars Vegeto with a WCF head that I plucked off and stuck on here. The skin tones do not match in the least. I think he actually has the Figuarts Spirit Sword. All this will get replaced with the one coming out this fall. Now we've got just a standard Goku and Vegeta. Vegeta there has a demonical fit head sculpt, so that's like a cool translucent hair that he has, which I really dig. Then the newest diorama that I've made here, so new that when I filmed this the first time, I didn't even have it made yet. So I've got my Universe Survival Arc diorama. Now, before anybody points it out, this is not to scale. This center pillar should be massive. The ground should be much larger rings, but I wanted to kind of capture the idea of the arena more than I want to capture the scale for this one, just so that it wasn't quite as bland as it would be otherwise. So back here we have another custom Goku using the Awakening lower body and the Tien upper body and the Demoniacal fit hair. And then we have this effect that I got, I forget who made it, but it's a really cool Super Saiyan God Kaioken effect that just looks amazing. It looks really good if you put it in front of him as well, but more for a structured photo, less so for a diorama. Gold Frieza back here. Another figurized Piccolo there. A really awkward kit bash of Master Roshi that still needs some work. It's a Figma body with a WCF head that needs to have the glasses repainted and some GPSLot clothing. A kit bash shirtless Vegeta out of a Dragon Star's lower body. Actually, the upper body is as well. The upper body was from the Ultra Instinct Goku, actually. And then a kit bashed head that I painted up. I think it was off of a bootleg. I painted the hair blue, if I remember right. Another Mystic Gohan. Another Dragon Stars painted up to make the old Android 17 look like the modern one. Not totally done yet either, with a Figuarts head on it. And then a Figma figure whose name escapes me at the moment that I need to finish repainting into my Android 18, also using the extra head from the Figuarts. And then another figure Rise Crillon. The Dragon Stars, is it Kale? I always messed up the female Saiyans in this arc, so I forget her name. Thought it was Kale, but I could be wrong. Figuarts Jiren, Dragon Stars Hit, and then behind all this wiring mess, I have the Kaba from Dragon Stars. And then my team here is almost complete, and I started working on kit bashing together a Tien out of another Tao Pai Pai and some Goku parts, so eventually I will have Tien to add to the set as well and complete out my roster. Next up, I have the Broly movie display. So I've got the full power Broly there with a Gogeta, and then the lower powered Broly there with Goku and Vegeta. I kept this Vegeta with the Super Saiyan God hair just because it was different than any of the other Vegetas in my set, so I thought this was kind of a cool mashup. Honestly, if Goku had come with that hair, which I had thought he was going to, I probably would have had them both in just regular Super Saiyan God just for the contrast with the rest of the set, but this is how this is right now. This is another one that definitely needs a diorama, because I could just imagine it look really cool with like some snow and maybe pour some like resin lava in there or something like I did with the Frieza River. So I'm excited to get to this one eventually as well. And then last but not least, in a very cramped shelf here, I guess we could call this my miscellaneous or non-canon or whatever you want to call it, I guess. So this is just a bunch of other random figures. So I got my dragon in there. And then I have my original movie Broly from Figuarts. Then I have the Dragon Stars Final Form Cooler and Bardock in there. Got a custom Figuarts Gogeta. And this one I painted up with the hair being gold, kind of as a tribute to the old figures where they used to have, variants with gold Super Saiyan hair. I have a Trunks custom. I think that's based off the Bojack look, if I remember right. Then I have Goku with his power pole. It's just the Saiyan Rays on Earth Goku with the power pole that they released. And then a Erwin King Kai. And back here I've got the 3 Super Saiyan 4 kits from Figuarts. So Goku, Gogeta, and Vegeta. Got the Time Patroller Trunks, the just regular Time Patroller, and the Android 21. Was that what she was? 21? So like I said, just a very random shelf, but kind of cool miscellaneous factor here. So that was my Dragon Ball collection. Always a work in progress, as you see. There's still some customs that are unfinished, and I do want to get more of the dioramas built out, but all that is time consuming, and it's just something I will get to eventually as I go through things. I just kind of have to tackle projects as I'm feeling passionate about them and as I'm wanting to get them done. But I think it's shaping up pretty well. I can't wait to see what future releases come out. I do hope that Bandai does kind of start backtracking a little bit. There are some holes, especially in these Saiyan and Frieza sagas, that they never really covered. So I'm really hoping those get populated out into the rest of everything. I would really love a Raditz figure. That's like probably the highest on my wish list would be to get a Raditz to fit in here. But we'll see what they come up with, and if they don't, there's always third-party creators and customs to try to fill in the holes that are missing in the line. So that's it for this one, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later.